Alright YouTube, I'm just coming back from the 300 YCS. I'm feeling great. I did the main Genesys tournament. I felt a little bit more comfortable around doing Genesys events than advanced. I feel like it's just a little too big brain for me, so I do appreciate deck building. I think this is like that's the whole thing that encompasses Genesys. That's how I feel like it. And I ended up bringing one of my favorite decks to the event. I went, I guess to kind of start things out, I started the event X2, and my last round I lost, and I just was not able to make the rest of the, I wasn't able to make the next round, the next day, so day two I was just, maybe I was tired, maybe I felt like I wasn't playing the deck very optimally, but I ended up going into the next day. I went and did a Genesys Flight, and I had the most abundant success that I've ever seen, and with this roguish strategy. So I played AZAMINA Apophis. It is just a nice, good play on words. I know a lot of people are like Primite and like Apophis and Pure and all that kind of stuff, but this is just, I feel like this deck actually has some merit. This deck and like the Spriggans deck were extreme, like people had their eyes on it. They were really, really wondering how my deck list was, so I'm going to release this now. I'm so happy that I ended up getting this mat. I've been like, this is what I was really wanting to get when it very first started, so I'll go ahead and get to the deck profile. The points are going to be spread out throughout the deck profile, so I will go ahead and just explain every card. People kind of realize what there is. There's going to be man, so you run this at 3. It's a spellcaster. It has a lot of actually interesting synergies in the deck. I run 3 copies of the Anubis to the one that searches it, and of the 1 copy of the Merciless. All these cards are very, very important for the strategy. The extra deck plays a big, huge role. This card plays a big, huge role on my end board that I end up creating. So a lot of the times I end with like 6, 7 points of interaction, and a lot of people cannot understand. A lot of people don't understand how to play through them. And some of the points that I had to cut out were the kings, so I was only running 2 copies of this and 1 temple. That's all I ran for the cards, but you need to max out on all the different stuff that even without being able to see points, you have to be able to see this card. So yeah, anyway, that was the most important things. And then of course also the Apophis traps. We're in a very, very small package. This is all you need. You don't need to see anything more than this. You want to be able to play it from the deck. So seeing these in the hand are relatively bricks, but they are a big part of the strategy. We'll go ahead and continue. Now we go for the AZAMINA stuff. We have the DL'd, the White Witch. Very, very great card. A lot of people were running this in Centurion. People were running this as just a rank 8 strategy. I had a lot of success with this card in particular, and it is accompanied by our famous DL'd stars. You want to see this card, this card's 20 points. You can only really afford to run 1 copy. I feel like if anything else, if the points go up anymore, this deck would be extremely difficult to play. But I had these in the deck. We run the 1 copy of Wanted. This is 33 points. Very, very important part of the strategy, as you can tell. You have to get into the mood. The mood gets into your Wanted and gets you into your DL'd stars. So it's very, very important to have this in the deck. You'll see by the extra deck, like there's a reason why a lot of these points, like you feel like, oh, I should be running so much more different cards. Really, like it worked out so well for me. I ran these. I had like Nibiru's in the deck at one point, and I just felt like I needed more Sinful Spoils, and the deck actually naturally goes second very, very well. I had so many people come up to me, and we were theorying on the whole format, and they said like basically going first is like an auto win, and I beg to differ. Like this deck has a crazy going second strategy, and it's by far the best for it is the AZAMINA stuff. I have 9 in total fusion spells for AZAMINA, so massive. Oh, I gotta rearrange some stuff. Debtors and 3 copies of the Hollowed AZAMINA. You have an abundance of Sinful Spoils, so you are obviously going to be able to fusion summon, and having the quick plays and having the access to everything is very important to be able to get into your AZAMINAs, because naturally you'll probably be able to see the Apophis stuff, and if you see your AZAMINAs, you're just going to win that game. An honorary Sinful Spoils is the DL'd Star Chase. A lot of the times this card ends up fetching your DL'd Star. This card is always treated as a Sinful Spoils, so you can play this and then play a Debtors and fusion it off and just get an absurd amount of advantage. During the end phase, sometimes it comes up where you will banish it and revive, especially during your opponent's end phase. Just getting access to another DL'd Star or getting access to it. This card is basically reads, get access to any Sinful Spoil in your deck during your opponent's end phase, or pop a monster. Very, very sick. I was running the kind of the pseudo bricks. They are Sinful Spoils, so they allow you to play a very specific game. This is a fusion spell, very awesome. Or every now and again you'll have to summon the DL'd Star from the hand, and you don't have very much to pitch for it. And this card allows you to play. It allows you to get your man from the mark back from the graveyard. Very, very integral part of the strategy. Here's your next fusion spell, the AZAMINA Determination. There were very many times where part of the Apophis strategy is that you can activate traps during your opponent's turn or not during your opponent's turn, during the turn that they're set. So the AZAMINA cards and the Sinful Spoil traps are so crazy to activate the turn they're set. You'd feel like you are cheating like all the time, and you hardly ever really activate this card. But because this is why the strategy works so well, is because you can generally get access to this. You always have access to a Sinful Spoils and be able to fusion summon into any of your guys just to kind of start breaking boards. It is very, very amazing. The main card that I ended up searching most of the time with DL'd Star is our Emergency Teleport. This card is nuts. If you read this card, it says to search for Diabels, essentially. And because it says that it can't activate its effect during the main phase, this was activated during the end phase, during my opponent's draw phase, during my opponent's... It's just like, that way you just get their effects, and you've set up all your Sinful Spoil stuff, so you just end up setting a bunch of other things. And then I was running three other Sinful Spoils. We were running the Sanctification, the Sylvie, and then this card. So most of the time, it just kind of depends on what you end up going for, but let me go into Sinful. So when you get access to this, after you summon it, you'll generally send a few different cards, kind of depending on how your hand looks. But you'll send like any of these, and if you get access to Diabels, you have this set, so you can always get a revive. You get pop with him, you get a summon because you have 2 Diabels, and then you get to synchro summon during your opponent's turn, or Book of Moon everything. Very powerful at the end of the day. Super, super awesome. A lot of the times there's no direct combo line that you have for this deck. You're just kind of based off of whatever you draw. So you don't ever have... You have an end board what you want to get to, but a lot of the times it's all just integral moving pieces that you will get to eventually. That's the main deck. It is 42 cards, 41 cards, I think. I can't remember. It was changed a little bit ago, so I still am tweaking it to kind of make it a little bit better for next time. My extra deck, I have I'm going to kind of break down these, but something that you'll notice, so I have the move, which is 33 points. In total, I think it's like 96 points. I have no room for really any other point values. It just kind of seems to be a little, like if I'm putting more points into it, if I'm optimizing it to try to run 100 points, it doesn't really work out. Sylvie was just replaced by this. I think this card is absolutely amazing for the strategy. You're sending a card, and then you're constantly getting back your Sinful Spoils cards back from the graveyard, or your AZAMINA. You're just always recycling your resources. You don't really need Sylvie at all. The negate hardly ever really comes up. We would run the other AZAMINAs. There was a Centurion player that I played. I kind of want to bring it back up, that I ended up summoning this. He hardly could do anything, and then I ended up summoning this and just making it so that he couldn't end up playing the game. He couldn't beat over 4K. Hardly anything really in this format can beat over 4K. And the Lunalight stuff, the fact that this can't be destroyed by card effects, this card eats Ligers for breakfast. It's really crazy. I ran, now through the Apophis stuff, I ran 2 copies of this. This card's part of the combo where if you run into a situation, I think something that I ran into is a lot of people were just completely disrespecting Nibiru and never really saw anything. And so you know people weren't on Nibiru, so you could go through like a combo where you end up summoning this, resetting your guys, tacking into a Chorizo, and synchroing for Chenging just as a way to like make it so you can do this, and because all your AZAMINA stuff like banishes itself naturally, your Chenging can banish multiple cards from your opponent's field and graveyard. It was very crazy. The last synchro that I was running was the one circuit. Because you have a fusion spell, you can easily get into this if you have your circuit on the field and the Apophis, or excuse me, not the Apophis, having a Diabellstar. And so you would fusion, you'd set this, have your Diabellstar. Here, kind of break it down here. If you have access to this card and your Diabellstar, if you can go activate the fusion spell to synchro these off, summon this, and because this left during your opponent's turn, you can resummon this out by sending a card just that you're not using anymore to the graveyard, and then resetting a trap card. So you can reset any of these, and generally you'll still have this face up, so you can activate any of your traps during your opponent's turn. So setting off of this is actually just helps you make more disruption, and this is a banish on summon or during the battle phase. And then we're off to the synchros. We have the 2 fusions that you summon, the 2 synchro monsters that you summon with Diabellstar and the other synchro monsters. So you just have a lot of flexibility with the different types of levels. And a lot of people believe that my extra deck was just way bigger than what it was. I guess it's just because it's kind of been optimized to play the way that it's supposed to. And of course the Ptolemaya. You run into a lot of moments where you just need to kind of move bodies, and you got to get rid of bodies, and being able to add stuff back and replay things just to kind of get more bodies onto the field to OTK is important. Plus, this is good at board breaker as well. My side deck consisted of a lot of stuff that I feel like is probably just going to be pointed eventually. We'll start with the Mistaken Arrest. You don't search, you set. This card doesn't hurt you as much as people think it is. I know you do a little bit of searching, but a lot of the times you're doing it during your opponent's, not during your opponent's turn, excuse me, you're setting a lot of your cards during your opponent's turn, or even during your turn, so I was Mistaken Arrest a couple times, and it didn't even affect me, because you have the field spell that sets, and you have Diabellstar that sets, and so you can get a lot of disruption just under this card. Dark Ruler No More. Once again, this deck kind of wants to go second, so you want to make sure that no monster activity can even... You're going to break the whole board, and they're going to have the 0 follow-up anyway, so that's really important. I ran this card. My friend, a shout-out to freaking Andrew, man. He is absolutely... He was the one who said to play this card, because you have so many quick plays in the deck already. And because you have access to just all these, you're pretty much hitting a threshold of over half your deck is quick play spells, and so you can draw 2, dig into more of your engine. I like this card a lot. Because Droll's not in the format, you're just digging for everything you need. I ran this card as just a good blowout going first card. It's kind of like a Dark Hold, specifically for the Apophis stuff. Very nice. A lot of people were not expecting like the actual Dark Hold that this card does, and this card doesn't really affect you at all. And then the last card that I think also should be pointed is Stinging Dirge. We ran into so many like Cool Tune players, other synchro players. The Onomat stuff folds to this card. They can't overlay into anything. You can't synchro into anything productive. This card should also probably be pointed. It's like it's one of the most underwhelming, overwhelming floodgates that still exist in the format, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you have any questions about the deck or anything like that, I kind of started losing my voice. I don't know why this always happens when it comes down to deck profiles, but I really have seen a lot of success with this, and I don't know. I'm happy about it. So comment down below if you want to talk about Genesys. I'm going to hashtag everything so that we can kind of get this out. I know they said to do a lot of that kind of stuff. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Aether out. Peace.